President Joe Obama and the Democrats rammed through that stimulus of $1.9 trillion so that they can take credit for something that they actually didn't do. I know, you're surprised about that. Listening to all the Republicans on the faltering cable TV news outlets talking about the pork in the stimulus package and listening to them whine and cry about there's so much in there that has absolutely nothing to do with COVID relief. It was all about bailing out the blue states. Well, duh, we know that. We know that the fact that people are getting, $1,400 checks, those that qualify. I don't know on what planet that all of a sudden we've got the media and the Democrats thinking that poverty is erased because somebody's getting a one-time payment of $1,400. I mean, shoot, Shazam, Batman, you could have gotten every Republican on board if they thought that, really, for $1,400 per person, we can wipe out poverty? I'll do that. So this push, this narrative now that we hear from the Republicans about what this is, we know what this is. This was about bailing out blue states. Blue states that were going bankrupt long before the pandemic came along. And then it just exasperated under the pandemic because blue state governors decided to act like little czars and dictators and put their states in unbelievable lockdown restriction, and they absolutely killed their own economies. But it's okay, because now the state pension funds are going to be flush with cash, the teachers' unions are going to be flush with cash, fake cash, and when that inflation hits the economy, oh baby, oh baby, oh baby. But there's two things we need to learn here. And sadly, Republicans never seem to learn. Number one, everybody's talking about this maddening pace that Joe Biden is actually doing the things that he's doing, and he's dismantling America. And yeah, he knows. I should say, rather, the Democrat puppeteers that pull his strings know. They know they don't have long. See, they know that right now there is when the first quarter economic report comes out, it's going to be great. It really is. But it has nothing to do with Joe Biden. It has everything to do with red state governors opening up their states even more, some blue state governors finally opening their states, and the fact that the economy, which was forged during the Trump administration, is going to have a V-shaped recovery, just like we've always said. So there is great economic news coming for this first quarter. There is. But they've been predicting that and talking about that since late December. So pushing through the stimulus package allows Joe Biden and the Democrats to take this victory lap and sell the great economic news that's coming as it's a result of the stimulus package. And because the average person only pays attention to about, 20 seconds worth of news a week, well, I guess Biden was right. It worked. Look. Now, the reason they're ramming everything through so quickly is they know that when reality really does set in, they're done in the midterms. They're going to lose the Congress in the midterms. They know that. So they've got to get everything done now. And they've got to do it while they believe there's good news on the horizon. They see what's coming. They know how the economic analysts are going to already predict what a great first quarter it's going to be. The best since the pandemic shutdowns. Thank you, Mr. Trump. But hey. And when President Trump tries to come out and say, hey, look, we did that, it's going to be seen as sour apples and yeah. Just like Obama tried to take credit for Trump's economy. Now Trump's out there trying to take credit for Biden. So Biden's got the narrative, and the media will play the willing mouthpiece for it. But they also know that their days are numbered. Why do you think this whole maddening push now to end the filibuster? Because they want to pack the courts, the Supreme Court, and they want to pack the Senate. Because magically, once they can do away with the filibuster, it'll make your head spin how quickly there's going to be legislation brought before the United States Congress and Senate that Washington, D.C. become a state, that Puerto Rico become a state officially. Why, 4 more senators. And exactly what political party do you think they're going to be? So this is about packing Congress. It's about packing the courts. That's why the filibuster has got to go away. Because they've got to do this mad push now because they know in the midterms they're done. So they want to be able to set the stage so that the things that they want to do, the insane things that they want to do with voting, like endlessly voting and no voting verification, no registration verification, they want to ram all that legislation through now. And that will affect us for generations to come, to the point it could be actually irreparable damage. And now the Republicans want to fight when they had a guy in there who fought and gave them the backbone to fight. He's got to go. He's mean and he tweets mean things. Biden knows that after this first great economic report, that when the full effects of the Keystone Pipeline shutdown hit the economy with the thousands of jobs that have been lost, and not just from the pipeline workers, but all the jobs affected by the pipeline, when his new promised tax hikes kick in, which will immediately be felt by the public because all the corporations are going to get hit with all these brand new taxes, are going to pass it on to you and me. As gas prices continue to go up, which is another form of taxation, he knows that by summer, early fall, nobody's going to be feeling great about the economy again. It will be the full return to the Obama years. So they're trying to get everything in now so they can get their position shored up so that it cannot be contested. And this is the lesson Republicans need to learn. When you have power, use the power. Republicans, anytime we win a majority, and we foolishly thought, now we're going to make some real changes. And George Bush didn't make any real changes. Donald Trump wanted to. His own party in Congress fought him on that. No, Republicans, their line is, well, we'll take it easy for this first term so that we're reassured re-election. And then in my second term, that's when we'll make the real changes. Yeah, George Bush and the Patriot Act and stripping us of our freedom. Democrats, who have the thinnest majority that they have ever held in Congress, are ramming things through that are so unbelievably unpopular, but they understand that right now they got the power and they are going to take it, they are going to seize it, and they are going to do what they can to try to make sure that they never lose that power. But see, Republicans, we don't do that. When Donald Trump was in office and we held the Congress and the Senate, oh my word, the things that should have been done. But there were Republicans caught up in the hesitation of, well, Orange Man wasn't our guy and he's not part of the establishment, and there's the Russian collusion narrative. And it took Republicans over a year and a half on Capitol Hill to finally embrace their president. And then, Paul Ryan checks out and we get saddled with Nancy Botox Pelosi. Donald Trump, make no mistake about it, was not only fighting the press and fighting the Democrats, he was fighting half of his own party on Capitol Hill. Now, there are a couple things that the president could have done when he was in office that would have absolutely ensured his reelection, no matter how bad the Democrats used the pandemic to tank the economy. See, I've read Donald Trump's books. You know that Donald Trump actually does philosophically believe that some form of a nationalized healthcare system is not a bad idea. And I know this is where conservatives and Republicans start to wig out. We take the high ground ideologically on this issue. Why, even the Mitt Romneys, who had centralized health care when he was governor of Massachusetts. He forgets to, remind everybody of that. Remember when the president was first inaugurated, one of his big promises that he made was the repeal and the replacement of Obamacare. Well, he got it repealed as far as he got the mandate off our backs, but he didn't get it replaced. Everybody remembers John McCain's famous thumbs down vote. But sadly, here's the reality. For 6 years, Republicans were constantly talking about, we've got to repeal and replace. Ted Cruz during the primaries, my first day in office, I will repeal Obamacare. And that was his only big applause line. And so the president went that same direction when he campaigned, got there, got the monkey off our backs by doing with the mandate that we had to have it. And then I think he was generally dumbfounded to find out the Republicans, after 6 years of campaigning on this, didn't actually have a plan put together. They had several plans, none of which any of them could all agree on. They had no centralized, focused idea. And they got creamed for it. And should have. Because it revealed they never really meant it. They just wanted the issue to campaign on. By the way, let me share this with some of you liberals that are watching and salivating right now. You do know that even members of your own party are never really going to repeal the Second Amendment. They'll talk about it. They'll make movement in that direction, but you do know they're not going to really do it. Oh, they'll enact gun control laws that we all hate. But they know constitutionally what they can and can't do. Now, the extremes in your party, the AOCs, they're going to try to do it, and as they gain more majority. But see, Democrats, it isn't of their great love of the Second Amendment or the Constitution. They love the issue. God only knows how much money they've raised in the past 2 days after the Atlanta shooting. We've got to deal with this now. No more just thoughts and prayers and well wishes. We need real action. We need real laws. We hear that after every gun violent episode. And the Democrats rake it in. And the Republicans have their issues that they rake it in. And for 6 years, they were raking it in over repeal and replace Obamacare. And then when they had the chance to do it, they didn't. If Donald Trump had put a national health care into action, and some of you that ideologically, no, that's communism. Do you understand that we're eventually going to get there? I mean, health costs are outrageous. Buying health insurance on your own, it's very expensive. And if you're out of work, to be able to have that safety net of knowing, at least if I get sick, I've got some level of protection here. That appeals to 90% of the American people. It's going to happen. Listen to me, conservatives. It's going to happen. The question is, who do you want framing it and putting it together? A libloon socialist Marxist or a conservative? Who will put something together that, number one, is affordable, number two, actually works, and delivers, number three, what it says it's going to do. If Donald Trump, but he wanted to do it. And he was told, listen, this first term, don't even think about it. You'll alienate half the Republican base. Just focus on the wall, focus on the economy. That'll get you reelected. Then you can do health care. And he had every intention of hitting health care in his second term. But he didn't get that opportunity, did he? He would have had a second term had he done health care in his first term. Mr. President, I hope you've learned a valuable lesson. When you have power, use the power. The Democrats certainly are. The Democrats certainly are. And right now, what do they keep us distracted with? All of this woke cancel culture hogwash. While the Democrats and Joe Biden and that regime up on Capitol Hill right now are literally restructuring America as we know it. We have razor wire around the Capitol, and it shows no signs of going away. We didn't have razor wire up during any of the world wars we were involved in. Shoot, We didn't have razor wire up during the Civil War. Think about that. Think about what they're doing right now. And think about this return to normalcy and what's going to happen to the economy and all the good wishes and all the fact that you're feeling a little bit better about things now because the vaccine's coming and we're going to get unmasked by the 4th of July. See, and Biden does know, I think this is where he and Fauci do have a separation. Biden does know that by summer the masks have got to go away. Trust me on this. He knows that. He knows that by and large, the American people are done with this. And not just the conservatives. They're done with this. Because Biden knows some of the bad things that are coming. He's got to somehow show some light at the end of the tunnel, and here and there needs to pick up a win, and he needs to be able to say, I'm the guy that beat COVID. Take your masks off. Oh, by the way, all of your jobs, they're going back overseas to China. See, that's coming. Beijing Biden has sold us out. His cash mule son paying off the big guy, that would be Joe, the uncle. Talk about buying influence. Bill Maher recently did a monologue where he said, here in the United States, we are a silly people. He said, do you know who doesn't care about a 60-year-old Dr. Seuss book where an Oriental person is depicted in a drawing with slanted eyes and referred to as an Oriental? He said, do you know who's not offended by that so-called stereotype? 1.2 billion Chinese people could care less what Dr. Seuss wrote in a book 60 years ago. But we make it this big moral issue here. And while we think we're fighting the good fight and we're binge watching Black History Month on Netflix, China is binge building cities overnight. The Chinese Navy, did you know that in the last year it has doubled in size? It is now the world's largest navy. For several years, the United States Navy has been able to boast correctly, they were the biggest, most powerful navy in the world. It seemed like other countries had almost abandoned the concept of even having a navy. We can't say we're the biggest and the baddest anymore. China is. And while our officials at the Pentagon, who are all the results of don't ask, don't tell, and then Obama said, you can tell. And so we have openly gay, openly trans, fluid generals, admirals, all now deciding the policy and the fate of our sailors, our Air Force, our Marines, our soldiers, who are all on this new sensitivity training, hogwash, teaching white soldiers to be ashamed of being white, teaching men to be ashamed of being masculine. And as President Biden said recently, we need to be designing flight suits for pregnant women and helmets that accommodate female hairstyles. See, while we're worried about all that crap and equality and equity in the military and making sure that we have as many female generals as we do male generals, 1 year ago, the senior officials in charge of the Chinese military said, we have a problem. Because the vast majority of the boys in our country are raised by their mothers because the fathers are off working. That's what men do. Men work. Men make the money. The women, you raise the children. Well, because they're now noticing that all these boys who have been raised by their mothers, and 90% of the influence they have in school is from female teachers, the military noticed that boys are becoming, and this is a direct quote, soft and effeminate. Soft and effeminate. So they have taken on a national program in the schools and in the military to masculine them up. Can you say toxic masculinity? The very thing that we're quote unquote abandoning, the very thing that won World War II, the very thing that gives a guy the cojones to say, I'll get into a rocket and walk on the moon. We're abandoning all of that. And China is grabbing onto it and going to explode with it. Because we're a silly people. We've rolled over. We are going to get our tails kicked now. And so let me just say this, and I'm done with today's rant. When we get power, use it. Use it. When you have power, use the power. Hey, that's it for this rant. Thank you so much for watching. Hey, I just want to tell you, this will be my last rant for a couple of days. Don't panic if on Friday and over the weekend you don't see any new updated videos. I haven't gone anywhere, haven't been deplatformed. I am taking a vacation. And since I'm a staff of one, there were times that I would even take this stuff along and do it in the hotel room. I'm sorry. I need a couple of days of R&R. Thank you so much for watching, supporting. Please be a subscriber. Check back even over the weekend. Drive the viewing numbers up. That drives the liberals nuts. Make sure you have smacked the bell and clicked the word all for notification of the rant that's coming on Monday.